Thank you guys for having me today. I'm Max Fisher from Infor and based out of Charlotte, North Carolina. So if any of the folk there get down to North Carolina, please do come and visit and see me. Today's session is all around the Velocity Suite. This is something that's been released, I think it's 12 or 13 days ago now. We had a digital event online, something that we've been doing with our advanced technologies from Infor and our technology stack. So some of these things you might see as familiar over the past couple of years. Velocity Suite is more of our new kind of bundle of these solutions. So quick disclaimer before I get into it, there is some roadmap topics on here. Come from Infor's development team, and so some of those things, might not be met on those times. So just an FYI. For more information on all these things and to stay up to date on Infor related things, we have a YouTube channel out there that is great. We post weekly tutorials, updates, news things out there. So if you guys have not seen this, please go to YouTube, Infor Global, and you'll find this account, subscribe to it, and check it every once so often. I do it during my lunch period. We do tons of videos out there. This is our past quarter. We've got customer stories. That one on the top left, Express Boats, a CSI customer out of Arkansas in the US, doing our new process mining technology that I'll talk about. But that's out there on the YouTube channel. We've got stuff like that digital event a couple days ago. Tons of new things that are out there on the YouTube channel. So if you're not subscribed, please go and do that. Actually, just about an hour ago, we had our release highlights, which is very detailed highlights on all the technology I'm about to talk about today. We do an April and October release, and the April release stuff for the OS platform. We did a full highlights of what's new out on YouTube a little over an hour ago. We put that there, so just an FYI. We also have our developer portal, developer.infor.com. You can get tutorials on this, join our communities, check APIs that are available if you're more development centric. Go to our marketplace, et cetera, that are all out there. Another one I highly suggest you guys bookmark. This is a public facing site. With that, we do have a hackathon coming up. Signups are in May, so customers, partners, and Infor employees are allowed to enter into this one. We've had some before that were only partners, but now we're opening up to a bigger audience. So the signup starts in May. If you guys would like to participate, please do reach out. It's also there on the developer portal, developer.infor.com. And then last thing, for all my CSI customers out there, all of the information today's session, all the new pieces I'm talking about, all these things should be available on like the release report, release highlights, and release trainings that you guys get in Concierge. And so if you're like, hey, I want to know details about this, this information should be out there in some of these release training highlights and reports. If not, I'll put my email in the chat and you guys can email me afterwards any questions. So today's agenda, it's, what's the Velocity Suite? I'll take about 20 minutes to go through the technology behind the Velocity Suite. Then, what solutions are available today for you guys to go and enjoy and adopt. And then what this looks like in practice. How would an implementation of these softwares look? And then finally, how do you get your hands on it? So first things first, I'll run through this picture a lot today. The Infor Velocity Suite is a bundle of services, technology, and content. That's kind of the three main pieces. And I'll go through each individual what they are. But think of the Velocity Suite as a package of all of these things. We want to make sure you're taken care of to have all the technology you would like to develop on, the services to implement those things, and then also the content on top of all of that to get business value quicker. So just an FYI, like this is all the components of the Velocity Suite. They all come together. I'll talk a little bit about the philosophy behind, hey, why are we bundling all these things together? What is the bundle and why are we bundling it? And if you've seen some Infor marketing materials out there, you will have seen diagnose, automate, optimize. You might get sick of it by the end of this meeting, but those are kind of our three, and you can see there's a big circle there. We want this to be a continuous process, and I'll kind of go through each of these pieces. So first piece is diagnose. When you've got a problem or an efficiency in your business or a bottleneck, you want to diagnose where that is. We've got a tool called process mining that was released in October of 2024 that takes every event data you do in Sightline. So every single time you put in a purchase order line, or you do an invoice payment, we collect that event data, and we can showcase to you guys, hey, are you sticking to the business process? You can see, hey, where are people, non-conformant to this business process? So let's say that I entered an invoice before I got the PO approval. That would be a non-conformant thing. You'd be able to identify where people are straying from your business processes, as well as see, critical bottlenecks. Let's take the procure to pay process, for example, the, creating a requisition to paying an invoice. Maybe in that receiving the goods to payment of the invoice, your cycle time is, 40 days, right? That should be maybe 10 days, maybe 4 days, right? That's a massive bottleneck in your process. And so being able to identify those things based on your cycle times and how efficient you can be in your business processes is a huge piece. And that's the whole part about diagnose. We want to diagnose where the issues are and how can we fix them. For process mining, for CSI, out of the box, if you sign Velocity Suite and got this tomorrow, you could have the business processes for order to cash, procure to pay, demand to build, plan to inventory, inspect to correct, financial plan to report. All those business processes would be available for you guys to take advantage of. If you're not familiar with those business processes, Process Intelligence, one of the softwares that's been with Infor, I believe it used to be called implementation accelerators. It's more of like a Visio chart or a lucid chart of how a business process flows and what we see as a best practice at Infor. And we've mapped those out for you guys. You should see it in your tenant. If not, please do email me and we can get you guys set up. That comes along with your cloud suite. So that's one piece, diagnose. We want to figure out where the problem is. Once we figure out where the problem is, we want to automate that away or give something to help automate something in your business. That's where we have our Infor Value Plus catalog. Think of it like a menu. It's a menu of solutions that we can apply to fix a problem. We put those into three categories: automations, insights, and workspaces. Enterprise automations, trying to automate something out of your business. The best user experience is no user experience, right? We want to automate that piece. The next one we got is insights. This is curating your data using AI models to give you, intelligent notifications or insights to make your business process a little bit faster or fix problems upstream rather than have them cause things downstream. So for an example, anomaly detection. If I'm going to enter in a purchase order and I put in, 1,000 when I really meant 100, you would get that anomaly detection there. So instead of correcting it downstream, you could correct it right there. Or vendor performance insights, being able to grade your vendors. You'd be able to select a vendor correctly at the initial point of a purchase order rather than doing that downstream and having to mess with bad suppliers and giving you bad materials. And the last one is advanced workspaces. These are enhancements on the current standard workspaces available in CSI, where it's one curated space for like your buyer, your customer service rep, to be more efficient. And it's everything they would need in one screen to do actions on. And so instead of going through, multiple different modules inside of Sightline, you're able to have one screen to do these things. And so those are kind of our categories for Value Plus content. I'll kind of go through what's been released from CSI, and we'll go through examples in a second. So that's the automate phase. And the last one is the optimize. So diagnose, automate, optimize. Optimize is mainly with our Gen AI technology. So we released a Gen AI technology last year, and this is all around optimizing that business process once you automate it. So if you're having a notification, if you're needing a summary result of what happened in that process, if you're needing to do a translation for it to go into a different language, those things that Gen AI can do, and we've seen it done very efficiently. And so being able to have that notification that's customized to that end user, being able to summarize, hey, this is exactly what this process had done, and you get that high level summary right away. Able to send something or have information come in that's in different languages, being able to automatically translate those things. We've seen awesome to optimize that business process afterwards. As well, coming out in October, we went limited availability in April. We have our kind of chat assistant with Gen AI. Think of it like a chat GPT interface that you can build on top of your cloud suite. And so that will be the next step we have here. So that's the philosophy behind the Velocity Suite. It's that diagnose, automate, optimize. How do we actually do that and how all these pieces fit together? What are the technologies behind those value plus solutions? So we have the process mining. How do we actually, once we diagnose that issue, how are we fixing these things? How are we automating these things? Again, back to that lovely picture of the Velocity Suite bundle. Now I want to get into that middle category there, the advanced technologies that we call from Infor OS, and a little bit about how they're licensed. So those four, process mining, RPA, AIML, Gen AI. These are all now precursor before me talking about each individual one. These are all Infor built solutions. We're not using third parties. These are all part of the Infor OS technology platform. First one we got is process mining. Kind of went through that a little bit, but it's being able to find those and diagnose those bottlenecks, seeing where we're slowing our business or non-conformance in our business. This is part of the Velocity Suite is unlimited usage. So if you go with the Velocity Suite, you get unlimited usage of process mining. I know that Sightline is based on user licenses. Some Infor OS technologies in the cloud are service limits based. Process mining would be unlimited with the Velocity Suite. Next one we got is RPA and IDP. These are two technologies that released in October of 2023. RPA, think of it as a bot that goes and makes those clicks for you. So if you've got a 10-step process, we want to automate it, that bot can do those 10 steps. And then IDP, kind of the brother and sister to RPA, is our OCR technology. Being able to scan a document and get all the relevant information you would need off that document, that's our IDP solution. And these are both Infor built. I know we've used partners for these in the past, but as of October 2023, we released our own solutions here. These, as part of the Velocity Suite, unlimited usage. So you can run as many documents as you want through our OCR. You can run as many processes as you want with RPA, unlimited. Next one we got is our Infor AI platform. If you guys have followed along Infor's release stuff, we released something called Coleman AI about 6 years ago. This is our own AI ML engine to build machine learning models. This one, we mainly use it for like duplicate detection, name and address similarity when trying to match a vendor's name to a vendor's address, recommendations for similar parts. So think, if I'm buying diapers, I probably want milk along with it. Anomaly detections and forecasting. Those are kind of common use cases that we have with this platform. This is actually part of your multi-tenant Infor OS already today. If you do not see this in your tenant, just put a support ticket in and you can have access to it. Just say, hey, I want Infor AI on my tenants. This is more about building your own ML models. And the last one we got is the Infor Gen AI. This is our own Gen AI, as part of your cloud suite. This one is part of the Velocity Suite, is unlimited, so you can use this as many times as you want with the Velocity Suite. But if you don't have the Velocity Suite and you're just a multi-tenant Infor OS customer, you can have 55 million tokens at $0. So work with your account manager, and you're able to get this for $0, 55 million tokens, up to that limit. Once you pass that, you have to move to the Velocity Suite, and that is unlimited use of this. This is not only those features I mentioned with the translations, with the summarizations, and the generating text. We also have APIs available to call and do your own prompts to this, and that would be unlimited usage as well. So any development-friendly folks out there, the Gen AI thing, you can make your own, workflows to call the Gen AI tool and everything. So that was kind of our four, and if you count IDP, our five, technologies that we use in the Velocity Suite. But a lot of these use cases I'll talk about in a second, they need some more things to make them end-to-end, right? They're great point solutions, but to make it end-to-end and work for your business, there's a lot more things you got to have. And so that's where Infor OS comes in as part of our technology platform. This has been around for a decade. Any document management needs, we have IDM there. We've got Ion for any workflows and tasks. We've got the API gateway to call those different APIs, data fabric to store all our data with a data lake, Mongoose, as you guys know, with Sightline Mongoose to extend applications, and all the same security. So it's kind of that glue that brings all those four technologies as part of the Velocity Suite together. And so if you hear me talking about, hey, we're going to put a document, we're going to read a document with OCR, or we're going to store that document in IDM. Hey, we're going to send a notification or a task. That's through Ion. We're going to audit this data and show you a report. That's all in the data lake. So it really is that glue that's part of your cloud suite that keeps all those other four technologies together. So that's enough of technology talk. That was all more tech focused for development focused. Now we're on to what do you actually do with these things? What are those value plus solutions that once you diagnose, you can automate? What are the ones that we already have out of the box, kind of pre-built for you guys to put into your business? So again, that lovely picture of the bundle of Velocity Suite. This is all around that top part, that value plus catalog. What are these use cases? I will go through a few of them and then kind of go through the full list, but I'll touch on kind of the big heavy hitters that we've got out in this release. First one is automatic bill of lading. So the bill of lading document, you would get that signed by a driver as you put a shipment out. A lot of times we see customers have that piece of paper and it's signed, and they go stuff it in a drawer. And so whenever someone calls up to get that bill of lading document, they got to go back to that drawer and pick out that document. It takes them 5, 10, 20 minutes to find that document. That's a problem. And so we want to eliminate that. Or maybe they're getting these documents and they're physically scanning them in and they're typing in the bill of lading number and putting them in IDM, and that's a manual task in itself. And so our whole goal with our technologies is, hey, can we automatically take this document, extract what we need, store it in IDM so it's all searchable, and you can always look at it whenever you're in CSI looking at that order. You can have it in the related information on the right-hand side. That whole process, we take those documents, you would scan them, and they would get emailed or they'd be put in a shared folder. RPA would pick that up, use that OCR IDP technology, scan everything off that document, then store it in IDM, and you get a notification. So it's as simple as that. And you think, oh, that's a simple use case, Max. That's just putting a document into a document repository system. Yes, it is that simple. But it takes away the need to have drawers and finding and searching through different systems or different places to find these documents. Now, if someone, customer service rep, gets called and they need to find this document, they can go say, hey, what's your order? They can look it up and they can find it right there on their screen in CSI. And that's kind of our simple kind of basic use case there. Next one we got is automatic customer service email summarizer. So I don't know if anybody here is in customer service, but usually there is tons of email chains back and forth. They all live in an email box, and it's hard to track what's going on. If someone ends their shift and someone else has got to pick it up, different service rep there to deal with. There's also I don't know if you guys have done customer service. Sometimes you get some pretty lengthy emails that might take 10 minutes to read, where really you only need to get the gist of it and then send it off to another department. And so what we've done is we've taken that emails that would come in, summarize them, translate them, categorize them, and then store them all into Sightline. And so there's one place for everyone to go. They get the summary of it. They get the translation of it. If it's multiple languages, they get it categorized and then stored. So how this works would be RPA, same thing, monitors that mailbox. Every email that's picked up, they extract all the text, all the images, who sent the email, etc. We put them in the customer interactions form inside of Sightline, if you guys are familiar with that. We use our Gen AI technology to categorize, saying, hey, this email was an escalation, it was urgent. This is just somebody asking a question. And so you're able to see, hey, which one should I prioritize? Also, we do a summary of it. And so you get from a long text thread, you get the summary of what's going on, as well as it translates. So if it's a communication back and forth between French and English, You get that fully translated to English or whatever language you would pick, and then we store the all the attachments and those images in IDM for reference, and we create that customer activity in that customer interactions form. And so it's kind of a one-stop shop inside of Sightline, so you can see all the activity from these customer service engagements. That also gives you one more thing too. You can see, hey, over time, maybe there's tons of urgent tasks needed for this part that's put into Sightline. So you might want to go back to engineering and say, hey, we need to change this product or do something else with this product. You'd be able to see over time kind of that data on what actually does need to be, customer service. Maybe there's more information that needs to go out there on some products, that sort of thing. You get it all in one place and all the benefits from having that big data. Next one we got is on invoice processing. So this is on an AP invoice, extracting that invoice information, validating that data, translating it if it's different language, and then storing that document in IDM. So if you're thinking about this one, I don't know if anybody's done any AP invoice processing, but invoices can come in crazy, wacky ways. I've seen them from farmers where they've got handwritten notes on it. I've seen them where they just forget to put the invoice number or the purchase order number, but there is a purchase order number on these things. And so what we've also done, it's not just a one-to-one, the invoice goes into CSI. What if we can't read that document? What if there's a duplicate? All these different scenarios that could happen. We've also got exception handling to be able to add info, double check, correct anythings. So before that actually gets into Sightline. And so we do our best to extract everything. And if it works out perfectly, it goes into Sightline. But we also have some exception handling screens. So whenever that document gets picked up and read, if something's missing for whatever reason, or the customer calls or the vendor calls an item one thing and you guys call it another, being able to map those as well, you can do that here. So that automatic invoice processing, that would be, reading that mailbox, taking that email, extracting that text, validating all the information. We use a little bit of AI here, things like being able to my name's actually Maxwell, not Max. And so being able to kind of put Maxwell and Max, and based on my address in Charlotte, we can map those two together, doing some AI validation and lookups, storing that document in IDM, and then creating that supplier invoice in CSI. On the kind of flip side of this is on the AP process, but on the AR process, order to cash, you've got customer order creation. So customer sends in a purchase order, or they send you an email with some text in there. They want to order something. Being able to automatically take that email information and go ahead and create those orders in Sightline for approvals and everything there. So I'm hoping you're seeing a common theme. If there's stuff in documents or emails or other systems, we're able to take it, validate it, put it into Sightline for your user to be more efficient in those different business processes. I hit some of the highlights, but these are all the things that were released in the April release. This is all April 2025, our first release for these things for the Velocity Suite. I only covered those top 4. We got some more there. They're all out in the CSI documentation. And more solutions come with each release. So as you'll see, in October, we'll come with more. And then also the updates to these solutions, right? Maybe invoice processing or customer order creation needs an enhancement to put in, different types. We actually got a use case from a customer saying, hey, I want my customer order creation to be done by you guys listening to a voicemail. And so we're working on that one currently. Hopefully, maybe that will get into the October release. So, we're adding more solutions. We're updating them with each release for you guys to take advantage of. And now what we're trying to get to, because this is only how many? This is only 8 solutions released in our first release. What we're trying to do is come with so many, right? What we want to do is based on your business process to come with tons of different use cases. Here, we've just listed them out. This is from our, roadmaps and ideas that we have come in for, hey, what these use cases could be. If you guys have any, please do mention. We can add them to our list to help, different automations or insights into the product. And so we're able to make this list very big. And so why I kind of showed it on business process is because my next thing I'll go in how you guys get your hands on it and how a services implementation works. But this is, how we map it out. So if we want to look at the AP department and go into procure to pay, we can go through and look at, hey, this is the menu of stuff we already have pre-built. Order to cash, go to the sales department. These are the ones you guys can pick from that you can get ROI on very quickly. So putting this all together and what this actually looks like whenever you go into implementation, because I just went through a lot of technology, went through a lot of use cases, but how do we make this actually exist and we're actually doing the right thing? Again, my lovely screen and my lovely picture of the Velocity Suite. If you guys take one thing, take this picture away from today. Um, the Velocity Suite also has services involved. And so this is not only deployment of those solutions from the Value Plus catalog I went through, making those small tweaks to make it work for you, right? Maybe you don't want to read the bill of lading number off the document. You need to have the shipping number or the order number off that document. Maybe you need a notification every single time a document's processed instead of once a day. Those small changes, that's what the services that this team is there to deploy, implement for you guys, right? And the next version comes out, updates you to the newest version, those sort of things. And so what those services engagements will look like is we'll start at the business process level. So it's a busy slide, but I'll walk through it. So for this example, I took procure to pay. We're going to look at that whole process from request to pay. That business process, we want to focus on processing that invoice. So the goods got received, and we got to process the invoice that comes in, and then we got to pay it. So let's look at that processing invoice step. We've noticed that our invoices are not getting paid in time, right? These are the challenges that came in, okay? And we think, okay, this is what the challenges is that you guys have, or you think you might have. Well, let's go into process mining to see, hey, is there actually inefficiencies in this process? Where are the inefficiencies in this process so we can go fix them? And so we look at it and say, oh my gosh, the percentage of invoices that we've had out there have been delayed due to mismatches. You've had people go in and take PO lines off because it wasn't invoiced correctly because there's a mismatch for those things. The percentage of your payments, we're actually saying go way past the agreed terms on it, so you don't get those awesome discounts from paying early. And so we take these and we're going to say, hey, based on what we see here from process mining, we're going to recommend some of those Value Plus solutions to go implement. So invoice processing that I mentioned, that would be a good one here because that gets your invoices in from that mailbox into Sightline and into the AP team to approve and pay quicker, right? So instead of having an invoice sit in a mailbox for 4 or 5 days before it actually gets into Sightline, they're able to automatically get there. And so that cycle time from invoice coming in to payment could decrease from 10 days to 5 days or 10 days to 2 days, right? And so making that process faster. That's one way we do it. As well, we've got that centralized buyer advanced workspace, one of the other use cases that are out there. That one, the buyer gets to see anomalies whenever they create purchase orders or requisitions to say, hey, this one, you ordered too many. This one, you had an expected due date that was wrong. This one, the cost is way too much. And so you'd be able to get those things way upstream before that problem becomes downstream. And so we'd recommend these things and implement them. So hopefully, after this entire process, that big circle I mentioned in the beginning, you can go look at your procure to pay, maybe after all these things are implemented, and compare them from process mining. Say, hey, last year we were doing 60 days for this process. Now it's down to 20 days. That actually made an impact. So not only are we able to diagnose and figure out and recommend what to do, afterwards, we want the proof in the pudding. We want to track, hey, are we actually getting better at these different processes? And that's how it would look in implementation. So we'd start with that process mining, and then we'd figure out, hey, what's the actual diagnose, what's wrong, pick an automation to go with, optimize it, and then do that all over again. We do have tons of customers out there using these things today on the YouTube channel. under customer stories. That ExpressBoats customer one was the most recent one that came out a couple days ago. We've also got all of our packaging there as a CSI customer, Comblift, another CSI customer that are using these things today and seeing value from it. So we do have some proof in the pudding there. Please go check these out. They've been up, some of them live for about a year now. So quick recap, that was a ton of stuff I just went through. Um, First thing we started off with was big picture. Velocity Suite. We want to do diagnose, automate, optimize. That's kind of the whole thing. Figure out what's wrong, automate it, optimize it. Next one, that those technologies, right? That awesome picture. This is the last time I'll show it, I promise. But all those technologies and licensing, and this is unlimited, this is not, those things, we also went through that. And then we kind of looked at, hey, what does a service engagement look like? We would go in and look at process mining, see, hey, this is the problem. We're seeing it in this area. Let's go recommend one of these automations for you. So that's how it's applied. So that's all the content I had for you guys today. Open to some questions. I'll go see if there's any in the chat. I know that was a ton I just went through. Let's see. Got a question. Hi, Max. We do have the service module where we send lots of emails to the customers for their service to be done. But unfortunately, we don't have the service module integrated with the CSI sightline. Looking forward to know more. Yeah, we've actually had another good use case come from service modules there, being able to send lots of emails out and having those automatically generated based on some fields and text there. The original use case we had was on Dunning letter. So think about if somebody owes you money, um, you know what? Let's say, Con, you owe me $20,000. I got to send you an email saying, hey, you owe me some money, right? And then maybe in a couple of weeks, I got to say, hey, you owe me some money. I'll take legal action. Being able to automatically draft those emails using our Gen AI and send them out, you're able to as well.
Max, we also have some questions in Q&A section. Let's see. From Laura, will it recognize duplicate invoices if a vendor sends an invoice more than once or bills us twice in error?
Yes. So let me pop back to that slide. So this is on the automatic invoice processing. And so this would be, hey, the supplier sent me a duplicate invoice. They do it all the time. They might send it 2 or 3 times, right? What we do when we extract the information off that document, so RPA picks it up, IDP reads it, and then we go look at Infor. We use our Infor AI technology to figure out if it's a duplicate or not, right? If it's a duplicate or a possible duplicate, we would put that in that exception handling screen for you guys to make sure they're saying, hey, just making sure this is a duplicate or not. We've seen some suppliers reuse invoice numbers. It's kind of crazy, but we have. And so we would, if it was a duplicate and we thought it was a duplicate, we would put it into that exception handling screen for someone to go look at and either archive it and toss it in the trash or say, no, this is a real one. Let's move on with it. Good question.
Okay, and we have another question from Mike. Will you be able to read and apply salesperson's expenses? For example, gas receipt, restaurant receipt, etc.
Yeah, so for this one, that sounds more like an expense management system. There's a lot more logic there. If you guys are using the Infor XM software, we have our own expense management software out there that you're able to take a picture and have these things already in XM. That would be a good use case. If it's a invoice that comes in that's got the receipt and number and everything, that's perfectly possible through this process. If you guys do it through Sightline, again, that's perfectly possible for this process. Those are expense invoices, non-purchase order invoices. But if you're looking for a full expense management for like your employees, this might not be the solution for you.
Okay, the other question is from Gabriel. Can we create our own solutions using the RPA tool?
Yes, so that's a great point. Um, I told you I wouldn't show this slide again, but I'm showing it again. I'm sorry. Um, all these tools you see here in the middle that we went through, those advanced technologies, you have the usage to go do your own things with them. And so RPA is out there. There's documentation on how to use it, tutorials and everything. You can take that and build your own processes. With IDP, you can scan your own documents. Gen AI, build your own thing. You'd have unlimited usage of those things. We've got a customer. They're one of the YouTube video customers. Injuries. We went with that proof or that bill of lading solution with them, and then they learned RPA, and I think they have 15 or 16 different use cases they use now. Small things or kind of big projects there that they have. This helps them in their day-to-day stuff. Kind of, I'll mention a funny one. They were actually using RPA to go screen scrape a competitor's website and take the data from all the pricing of all their items and storing it, and so they can compare their own pricing to their competitors' pricing. Now that would probably not be an out-of-the-box solution from us, but you can go build it if you'd like to for that competitive intelligence.
Okay, the other question is from Ryan. Does with all work in hybrid scenario, on-prem ERP with cloud OS?
Mm. Okay, so this is something where we need to have multi-tenant Infor OS and multi-tenant Sightline. So you have to be in the cloud to take advantage of these things. Um, that doesn't mean you have to wait to be in the cloud to take advantage of these things. If you're during your go live and you're prepping and you're planning your go live, you're able to start and use some of these things and get advantages from them towards that go live. And so when you go live, you get all the value from these things, but you have to be in CSI in the cloud to use these things.
Okay, thank you, Max. And we have one more question from Nikki. Does invoice processing work for PO invoices?
Yes, so it works with PO invoices and non-PO invoices. We try to, it's better if the PO is on there, right? We try to match that with the PO that you guys have in Sightline. We've had some instances where we see that purchase or invoices come in without a PO number, but there could be a purchase order in there. And so for those instances, we look at the total amounts and try to match to say, hey, this could have a purchase order. So please, it goes into exception handling. That's that AI model there. So we do POs, we got that down. We got non-POs, but there's sometimes that gray area. We also use our Infor AI to kind of determine if it's a potential PO invoice, even though it doesn't even look like it.
Okay. Do we have any other question? Seems like no, but we can wait.
Ooh, I got
Oh,
some.
yeah, there's one new question from
Uh,
Laura.
can you use it for approvals from people on invoices, PO? Yes, so that's part of that, your implementations, and part of that original, I put back here to Infor OS. Um, we've got this awesome tool called Ion that is the backbone of all the notifications and tasks that you would receive and emails that would be sent out for these things. And so that should be part of your CSI process during implementation. We can set up the notifications you would need however you would like them. But if you don't want to do like Velocity Suite and you don't want to do that automation stuff yet, you can still go in and build your own notifications for requisitions for invoice approvals. You can go build that today. If you're in the cloud, you should have Island.
I'm looking for any other question.
Let's see. And then I did put my email in the chat so you guys have it. Please do, if you guys have any other questions, ask about license, anything like that, please do just reach out. Happy to answer any questions.
Max, we have one more question. It's coming to me. And am I able to implement more than one value plus solutions?
Yes, so that's where I kind of mentioned we would do the implementation process. You would go in and we would recommend multiple of these things to say, hey, we can fix your business process. So you can go with more than one, right? It doesn't have to be just invoice processing. It could be multiple. whenever we say I gotta show this slide again. I'm so sorry, guys. When we talk about the value plus catalog, um, if you go with the Velocity Suite, you have access to everything in the catalog and everything that would be released in the future in the catalog. And so you can pick from whatever ones you have in there to implement. Now, when you get to like your second, third, fourth, and fifth use case, those would be individual services engagements. So it's not like you have to pay a SaaS license. It's just the small services fee to get these things up and running for you guys.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yes. Um,
Yeah.
I think we don't have any other questions. All right then. Okay. Thank you so much, and thanks for your questions and your time with us this morning. And we hope you enjoyed. And we are here if you have any questions. And if you have any questions, you can ask directly to Max, or you can reach out to us directly. Um, and our customer success manager, Sherry Behzadi, and she would be glad to answer all your questions. And as a final note, please stay tuned with us. We're planning more informative webinars and ERP trainings for you in 2025. So please stay tuned with us. And thank you so much for your time and have a wonderful day.
Con, if I could
Oh,
just add in there,
oh,
if you would like to reach out to us for pricing or any further questions on licensing and implementation details at ESS, please reach out to Con or to Wendy Franklin or to Max Fisher, and we'd be happy to help you out and answer those questions for you.
okay.
So,
Amen.
and I just
Um,
so I'll let you answer that, Con. I know.
yeah, yeah. From Laura, can we get a copy of the recording? Yes, yes. You will receive a copy and maybe in 1 hour. Yeah,
Okay.
you will receive. All
Thank
right
you
then.
very much,
Thank
Max,
you so
for a
much.
very informative presentation. You got our the gears running in our heads, so that's awesome. Thank you so much for your time.
Awesome. Thank you all so much. Have a good rest of the day.
Too. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Peace.
And for those that would like more detailed demos, anybody, let us know. We can help you out. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.